Hey guys, Brian with Buffalo Beer Reviews. We have an exciting day today, already happening at at my house. Today we are going to, or I am going to, attempt to brew my own beer. I got some equipment. This is not going to be a tutorial on how to use, my electric boil kettle. This isn't going to be a how to brew your own beer. There's millions upon millions of people that are way better at that and can explain it to you. But what we are going to do is we're going to do a Black IPA. I have this, let me flip it around for you. I have the Brewer's Edge electric brew kettle. So we're going to bring this up to, it's a little bit colder out today. It started at about 57 degrees. So I ramped this up a little bit at 170, but I'm going to bring it down once the mash is in. But we're going to boil at 149. I'm sorry, we're going to boil at 149 for 60 minutes. We are going to put Citra and Amarillo in at 20 minutes. And then we're also going to do a what is it called, a fire off addition of Citra and Amarillo, and we're also going to do a dry hop in the carboy. We got the wort chiller, all that good stuff. I got all this stuff at Niagara Traditions. I was really happy with the service. I really was. Boom, Citra. That's I have them all, this is an ounce. These are all ounce packets. So, Citra, Amarillo, all this good stuff. I'm going to get it all organized. I'm going to kind of let this come up to temp. And we'll cut back in when I'm starting to add the, malts and the oats and stuff. What do we get real quick? I got 10 pounds of Maris Otter. That's a 5-pound bag. That's a 5-pound bag. Milled for me right at Niagara Traditions until I figure out if I want to keep doing the home brewing, and maybe I'll look into getting a mill for myself. Here's our liquid yeast. I got the 1098 version of the yeast. I got a pound of flaked barley. I have a pound of crystal rye, some coloring, some mouthfeel. I also have a pound of midnight wheat. I have a pound of Carafa Specials 3 without the husks. And I also have a pound of malted rye. That all looks super good. I got some hop socks. I'm gonna get it all weighed out, and I'm gonna get it ready to rock. So that's about it. We're at 65 degrees on this thing. I did take a little temperature reading just to see how accurate all right, what we're at 66 and climbing, and I have a little instant thermometer, and we are at currently 66.8. So, without the dry ingredients in right now, that temperature gauge is pretty reliable. So I've tested 2 or 3 times. So for now, we can put some good confidence in our water temp is going to be what it says it's going to be. But I still got about another 90 degrees to go. So I'm going to put the lid on and go grab a coffee, and then I'll cut back in. This will be my first brew day, part 1. Cool. So a couple of things that I've kind of been getting ready and set up while my water's coming up to temperature is, I've gotten my ingredients ready to go. I have like a 22-gallon little tote that I'm also keeping all of my brewing supplies in. That's empty. I filled that up with some water and some Star San, and I can start getting little things sanitized and ready to go, and that bucket will be ready for cleanup at the end of the brewing process. Yeah, little things. I've got the scale out. I'm about to go ahead and weigh out the hops, even though I do have quite a bit of time. I want to get that all ready to go in the hop socks and ready for my additions. I'll probably end up doing both the Citra and the Amarillo, the 20-minute addition in the same hop sock, just to make it easier. And then I'm going to put that right into the screen, and that will come out when I take all the mash out. Yeah, that's about it. Just been kind of got the chiller hooked up, and I got the kind of the speed in which I want to run the water through it. I kind of stretched out the coils a little bit to give it a little bit better surface area. And I've just spent this last couple of minutes kind of reviewing the recipe, just to make sure that I have an enjoyable product after 10 days of fermentation. Do you know what I mean? So I'll pick back up when I mash in, and we'll go from there. One side note, when you do these this sort of thing for the first time, I have felt quite comfortable. I've watched a lot of videos. I've watched a lot of how-tos. I've watched a lot of different brewing techniques, and it just feels like I've seen it a couple of times, even though I haven't done it. So it's just kind of doing the work yourself, and really don't have anybody else around to bounce questions or problems off of. So, fingers crossed. I'll pick back up in a little bit. One of the other things I forgot to tell you guys about in my preparation work was I have just a little bit of water, maybe a gallon and a half, that I am going to heat up just to use as warmer sparge water to, any volume of water that's kind of left in the mash. I will be able to sparge through and kind of replace that volume into the boil kettle after everything's done. I thought that was something, right, when I was looking through my notes, that was a good idea. I liked that. I already have my hop addition weighed out and ready to add whenever that's ready to go. I will tell you what, if you've never been around like the hop pellets, the aroma is dense, and you really do get to appreciate how dense and thick that those flavors and aromas are when they make it through the boiling and the brewing process, and you can still taste them and smell them all the way through the product and a month or two later into your beer. The other thing that I wanted to mention too was that I was also reading through some of my notes was, we're gonna boil at 149, and so I'm going to initially bring the boil up to about 10 degrees warmer, about 159, so that when I add in the room temperature sort of malts, it's going to lower the temperature a little bit. It won't take us as long to reach our goal temp. And then once they go in, I'll set the temp for 149, and once it reaches that, we'll start our timer. So that's about it for me, guys. I'm super excited. This has been a lot of fun so far, and very humbling. So I'll keep it going. I'll let you know how it goes. All right, guys. Our mash in is just about completed. I have about 2 minutes left, 1 minute left. I was able to consistently keep about 149, 150, 149 on the temperature. Set it a little high, and it drifted right down perfectly right to the 149 water temp. Mash temp was about, inside the mash was like 144, 145. So I felt like it was pretty close. I did just realize that I put the entire 16 ounces of the midnight wheat instead of the, yes, I put all 16 ounces of the midnight wheat instead of just 8 ounces in. So I already know I kind of messed that up. I'll write that in my little notes to kind of pay attention to that a little bit more. I was really excited. I was trying to stir it in, and all that other good stuff kind of got away from me. So that's one strike already. We'll see. See if I can't kind of set this up. And I'm gonna pull the basket out. Let me see what it looks like from behind here. I'm gonna pull the basket out and start the boil. There you go. It does help a little bit if you have the kettle a little bit lower so that you can, ooh, it's heavy. Pull it right up, right there. Let all that mashy goodness drain back into the kettle. I can't really see the markings too well. I think we're at, yeah, there's the 6 gallon, 5 gallon. So we're like 4 gallons and climbing. That's way when I bring that kettle of warm water and I sparge over, I can bring my boiling volume back up to around 5, maybe a hair over 5 with some evaporation, boiling evaporation loss. I don't know, these are just the things that I'm thinking in my head, so cool. Man, the aromas that you get in person with the malts and all that other stuff, they just smell so much more vivid and alive in person. The hops, I have been just in love with this whole brew day just because of the hops quaffing in the air around here. It's really nice. So all right, I'm gonna let this drain for a little bit, and then I'll pick back up during the boil with the first hop addition. All right, guys, we are moving into the boiling stage. Sorry, I've been trying to fine tune that little setting on the boiler and the actual kind of gentle boiling, rolling boil of the kettle. I'm gonna show you right now. Kind of see, nice little rolling boil, very nice. We are coming up on 20 minutes. We're at 19 minutes right now. We're gonna come up on 20 minutes. We're gonna add that Citra and Amarillo hop addition. So I'm gonna do that real quick. I already have it in the hop sock. Just gonna drop it in, and I'll let the rest of the boil finish out, and then we'll flame out, add another ounce of each, the Citra and the Amarillo, and then we'll pick back up with cooling. All right. All right, guys, we are just counting down our final seconds of our 60-minute boil. I'm about to cut the heat off on this kettle and then add the 1 ounce Citra and 1 ounce Amarillo, flame off addition, while I have the wort chiller rolling, and I'm trying to get it down to 77 degrees ish, before I think about transferring it into the carboy. So that was my timer. You can see I've already got the wort chiller in there. Oh, shoot. Steam. I've already got the wort chiller in there at about 22 minutes left just to sanitize it. You can see my hop sock is still in there. So I'm going to go ahead over here and we're going to kill the heating element but still leave it on so that we can see the temperature of the wort inside. All right, so let's do this. Let's take this lid off. And I'm going to add this, and then I'm going to start getting the hose rolling. Hose in, chill it, hose out, and then I have an extension hose off the back that's just going to run into the backyard for now. Like I said, my first batch, I might be able to switch that up and see if I can make a better system. I'm also going to time how long it takes me to go from this boil temp down to 77 degrees, just for future reference. Hey guys, sorry I didn't get the remainder of the wort chilling and transfer over to the carboy in. It was getting really cloudy and windy, and it's starting to rain here, so I really did have to hustle it up a little bit, and I didn't really have time to hold the camera while I did it. A couple of things. My flame off edition of the hops of the Citra and the Amarillo. I did not use a hop sock. Those just went in like naked into the wort. So I'm going to see how, if that makes any sort of difference. I'll write that down in my notes. And it took about like 35 minutes for me to get down from 212 to 79 degrees. Yeah, so, but my thermometer did kind of, I didn't realize it wasn't submersible. I got one of those instant electronic ones, and it didn't make it all the way through the rinsing and cleaning portion. So I really couldn't tell you exactly what the wort temperature was. I was just kind of going off of the kettle thermometer. But by the time I was getting it into my carboy, it did drop considerably. It dropped another like 3 or 4 degrees. By the time I got into the carboy, I aerated it, and I pitched the yeast. And I'm just putting it right down into the basement. So, I mean, there are a couple of things, right, with this being my first brew day ever. There's things like I didn't test the water pH. I didn't do a water pre-treatment. I probably could have some more of that food grade sort of tubing to go from the kettle spigot into the carboy. Reading my ingredients a little bit better. I used too much of that midnight stuff. It's right off the top of my head. I forgot what it was. Things like that. But overall, keeping the temperatures within range, the time frame within range, adding the hops at certain points, those were all pretty easy. I mean, it's a little bit of a you're doing it on your own, kind of nerve-wracking. But that's just stage 1. Now stage 2 is going to be kind of fermenting it and getting it into a kegging system and enjoying it, seeing what it tastes like. So I'll do a follow-up part 2 of this. Maybe when I'm not going to do the dry hopping, but I am going to dry hop the carboy in 3 days, and then do one final fermentation, dry hop, with 4 days left. So 1 and 3, then another one 4 days after that, and then it'll be done at 10 days. So should be fun. I'm really looking forward to it. And yeah, probably maybe looking into a better cooling system, chilling system, and probably looking into that's about it for now. Yeah. And then as the operation continues to develop, maybe getting a second carboy, maybe fermenting 2 beers at the same time, and stuff like that. So, I don't know. That's it for me. I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.